Greetings, adventure. Welcome to the D20 Academy podcast. I'm Shiloh Kaneshiro.
And I'm Gabriel, and this week is episode 47, our class spotlight on the Warlock.
Hey you guys, welcome to this week's class spotlight. This is where we spend an entire episode breaking down a D&D 5th edition class, giving you guys all the good stuff.
All the things we love about it, things we hate, our just general thoughts, break down like some of its key abilities and things like that, to give you an insight into what this class is all about.
Right, so if you're a player, maybe this could be a way to figure out if this is the class for you, if this is a cool class for you to play. If you're a DM, you want to get to know the classes more that your players are playing, something like that. Yeah, that's what this episode's about.
Yep, quick plug before we jump into it. As always, our Instagram is at D20_Academy. We also have a Discord if you want to get into that, ask us questions there, just talk to us there, just message us on Instagram, or I think there's a link on our Anchor page if you use that, if you can find that. Yeah, Discord's the best place to ask us questions or give us comments, concerns. Not of our toll-free 1-800 number. That's also available, definitely. We have one of those. Also, we've started uploading our podcasts on YouTube. We have our YouTube channel under the same name. If that's your preferred platform to watch and listen to things on, you can check us out there. And we're going to be uploading them slowly over time, I believe.
Yeah, I'm trying to do like 2 a day. That's my goal. However, the PC I was using broke down, and now I have to use a little MacBook, and rendering and stuff is much harder than that, and it keeps crashing. So I'm trying my best to get 2 episodes up every day, so hopefully that keeps working, and also other things for that YouTube channel that we're thinking about doing. But other than that, yeah, let's get into the episode.
Alright. The mysterious Warlock.
The Warlock
quietly walks down the alley. A couple of patrons stumble out of a tavern nearby and catch a glimpse of this stark, cloaked figure talking to a devil. Ta-da! Warlocks are weird things.
That was an intro right there. Maybe we should open every episode with an ASMR, a little short story.
Yes,
let's
do
hook.
it. Yeah, okay, so, Warlocks are beings who have essentially made like a deal with some sort of otherworldly or extremely powerful figure or being, and they have like some sort of deal, and they get power from them, granted. They don't always know of the deal exactly, it might not necessarily be a good thought out, like exactly written down in stone deal, but there's some sort of pact between a player character and some sort of otherworldly powerful being. Yeah. So they have a lot of like weird, strange, mythological like power and like basically just weird stuff, essentially.
Yeah, lots of weird stuff.
Yeah, lots of weird stuff.
Warlock is the definition of the like weird. In like flavor-wise, mechanically, for sure, the weirdest class. But yeah, it's not super short. It's not actually really defined what a Warlock is. The description that they give in the Player's Handbook is much more vague compared to all the other classes that is described in 5th edition. Even I still don't really know what a Warlock is. They're still kind of weird to me and a little mysterious, and I think Warlocks can kind of be all kinds of characters.
Yeah, like a Warlock is essentially mechanically and flavor-wise meant to be more like a, for the player to decide and like customize like what exactly they want their Warlock to be. Yeah. Like it's pretty open-ended, like you just have some sort of pact and you get power from that. Yeah,
whether that's from a horrible demonic lord or from like a tricksy little fairy god. That's all, So yeah, your Warlock can be super varied, and we'll talk about those patrons and your being that you made a deal with later on, but basically, the basis of the class is that they made a deal with a being in exchange for power, basically.
Yeah, and there is a distinction, so I want to get this out of the way, there's a distinction between a Warlock and a Cleric.
Yeah.
It is a little bit confusing, yes.
Yeah.
Granted. But there is a difference in, like, the nature of, like, the deal and, like, the nature of like the relationship between the being that the warlock has a pact with and someone who's like a cleric for a god, or for a belief.
Yeah. Right. So warlocks cannot make deals with gods. That's called being a cleric.
Mm-hmm.
That's specifically stated in the player's handbook at the beginning of the class. It's some kind of other being, not a deity, because then that's a cleric. And also, if you're confused, well, paladins actually have nothing really to do with deities or other beings. They actually have to do with an oath in regards to like an order. So whether that is like an order that follows a specific deity or being or whatever, but that's what a paladin makes that an oath to, like an order. A cleric follows a god, and a warlock has made a deal with a being that's not.
I think the way I've seen it like displayed or laid out is that paladins follow like they have like their beliefs and their rules that they have set in place, following it like an order. They have like their what's it called? Their
tenets.
Yeah. Clerics get their power from their faith in their belief system or their deity. That's where they get their power. And warlocks form like some sort of pact with an otherworldly being.
Yeah, clerics don't necessarily like have a deal with their gods. Their gods may not necessarily like know they exist or like know them personally. But typically, when it comes to a warlock, they have some sort of relationship with their being. I would say, I think.
In some of them, like with like the what's the great old one, like might not all the time does the person or the being that the warlock has a pact with know that they exist, but it's a much different like relationship than a cleric with their god. 'Cause clerics get their power from like their belief, not necessarily like a deal or something.
Yeah, from their faith, exactly. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so if you're still confused, that's okay, so am I.
That's okay, a lot of people are.
Yeah, Warlock is just a weird class. Alright.
Mm-hmm. And Shiloh loves it so much.
As you're going to hear through this episode, I love Warlocks. I love how they work. I love their spellcasting specifically, which we'll get into. Love it. And did I mention I love Warlocks?
Yeah. And you also love their stereotypes, because their stereotypes are always, like, edgy. I am the edgy edgelord who made a pact with the devil to get Eldritch Blast.
Yep. Edgy edgelord is the Warlock stereotype, which is fine. Look, you can play an edgelord in your campaign. That's fine. Basically, every campaign I've ever been in has had an edgelord, so it's not like it's not like a stereotype or a kind of character I hate. I think they can be kind of cool. However, Warlock has way too many edgelords assigned to it. There is. Yeah,
it's something about like making a pact with an otherworldly being that just invites like, I need to be edgy, chaotic, neutral. I have no rules.
Chaotic, neutral, exactly. Also, Warlock is definitely the most evil sounding class of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all the rest are like, okay, like that's a good guy. A good guy can be a bard,
or it's like ambiguous, like a fighter or something.
Barbarian, right?
Yeah, barbarian.
Right.
It's like a lot of them are either like good, favored, or ambiguous. Warlock just sounds like bad.
Yeah, Warlock is attributed to witches and witchcraft and darkness, and that's what it's associated with. However, Warlocks are not really at all male witches, which is kind of what a Warlock actually is, which is a dude witch, not a wizard, by the way. Harry Potter is wrong in that regard. No, a female witch is a witch, and a male witch is a warlock. Dark art people. This is not really that kind of warlock.
Yeah.
It's different. Warlocks, once again, weird.
Different.
It's different. It's weird. But yes, typically it's like an edgy edgelord. However, I like warlocks who take kind of a different spin on things. I like the Fae kind of themed warlock. I think what makes warlocks cool is the ambiguous nature of them when it comes to like their ideals and their code of laws and stuff.
Yeah, so like the strengths, because I think the warlock has like some interesting and unique strengths in the place of D&D 5th edition. And one of them is like what you're saying is like they have a lot of like interesting ways that you can play around with like how you can like subvert like the tropes and the stereotypes and like have an interesting like relationship with like who you have your pact with, So that's something
Yeah.
that's unique to their class, you know, like having that special pact between you and some sort of otherworldly being or powerful being. And that's something you can play around with a lot in roleplay, in your backstory. There's so
Yeah.
much that you can do there. I think it's a great strength for the
sure.
class.
Okay. Another, probably the biggest strength of class, in my opinion, from my knowledge and my experience, is the versatility and customizability of a warlock. A lot of people play warlocks because they're super customizable. There's all these different kind of options and things that you can choose from as a warlock when you're building your character and as you level up. Cool customizability with your subclass and all these other things.
Yeah. You can customize it to infinity and beyond. Also, a good strength is that if you're someone who's interested in making a strong, powerful character and you're interested in multiclassing, Warlock is a very popular, like, couple level dip, like 3 level dip for multiclassing. Got a lot of good strength there. But that might be beyond the scope of this discussion.
Yeah. And then the weaknesses, I would say, is literally everything else.
No. Oh, yeah. One more strength I want to tack on there.
Okay, sorry.
Right. This doesn't come into play a lot in our games.
Yes.
Because of how we play it, but the Warlock is structured and mechanically built around having short rests and longer adventuring days.
Okay.
And that may or may not impact your mileage with the character based on how your campaign is structured and how long your adventuring days are. If you don't know what that is, we've probably talked about it in some other episode. We've talked about campaigns. Yes.
Okay, now to the weaknesses, which is literally everything else, you guys. No. Hey, listen. D&D, it's not about being the strongest or whatever. It's about telling a great story, playing a cool character. That's why we play D&D. That's why we love it. Right?
Having fun.
However, sometimes people have fun by feeling cool and feeling awesome and killing monsters, and the Warlock is not that good at, like, anything. They mechanically are very weak from my experience. Definitely just choosing from the options in the base player's handbook and not anything outside of that. For example, like the Hexblade Pact like subclass from Xanathar's Guide is pretty good. Actually, it makes the Warlock pretty cool. But otherwise, I don't like them. And they have like weird access to like some simple weapons and like light armor, which most other fragile casters don't, like sorcerers and wizards. But like I don't know why. It's a little like you're not gonna be using that. It's just
I think they have it in there so that like you can play whatever you want. You can play that melee half kind of. Technically, a Warlock is a full caster, but
weird. Once again, really weird. It's a really cool concept. It really is. I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
And for DMing purposes and stuff, having that pact being that NPC character that they made a deal with, and involving them in the story and stuff, that's so dope. And I love that as a GM, just getting to pull that into your game and make that a part of the game. But yeah.
All right. We've talked a lot about how like weird it is, and it might sound a little bit confusing right now. We're going to get into why it is weird and why Shiloh doesn't like it mechanically later. But first, like, what works well with the Warlock? Like, race and background synergy.
And character creation. Obviously, play whatever you want. This is just, like, the mechanical bonuses and stuff to make a more powerful mechanically Warlock, but obviously play whatever Warlock you want.
Yeah.
So they are Charisma casters, so they use Charisma and Constitution primarily. Meaning half-elves and tieflings make good warlocks.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, tieflings make good warlocks, obviously.
Yeah,
because
playing a tiefling warlock is the epitome of a warlock.
Literally. Here's the thing. I disagree with warlocks being a charisma caster. And this is something I have not always believed. This is something I have kind of realized and a conclusion I have come to recently. I think they should be intelligence casters.
Yeah,
And
that
here's
is a
why.
popular opinion
Yeah.
in recent times. People have been like looking more at the Warlock class, and they have a lot of problems with it. I have a lot of problems with it. Shiloh obviously has a lot of problems with the Warlock
I
class.
have so many problems with
And
the
one of
Warlock,
them,
but...
one of the chief ones that's at like the base of the class is what do you use as your primary spellcasting ability? And in 5th edition, it's been charisma. And I think the reasoning behind that is like something about like like using your relationship with your using the pact. I don't really get why it's a charisma
I hate
caster.
it.
We don't need more charisma casters.
I think it is the worst ability they could have chosen. I think intelligence or wisdom would have worked better than charisma. And here's why. Intelligence has to do with knowledge. Yeah, I said it.
Knowledge.
Yeah, and I feel like once again, warlocks are very varied and they're all different and whatever. But the concept of creating that pact to get power, in my mind, that is attributed best to intelligence because it's the pursuit of power, and knowledge is power. And just like wanting to learn the secrets of the universe and become really strong, or once again, you can make it like how you want. The reason you wanted that power, the reason you made that deal, can be for whatever. But just for me, I would rather it be intelligence. Also, intelligence is a dumb stat in 5th edition.
Yes.
And really, it only is good for a wizard, and in a minor case, for a fighter, an Eldritch Knight fighter, or a Arcane Trickster rogue.
Sometimes.
Other than that, no other things use intelligence. But so many things use charisma. And charisma is a dope stat. It's a really, it's a pretty important stat when it comes to social encounters and role-playing. And I think we needed another intelligence caster.
Yeah, I would like to use intelligence. I just had this idea that I think would have been also an interesting way to go with the Warlock, would be have it as a Constitution caster. Where like it'd have to like change like the flavor and perhaps narrow it down a little bit. Perhaps like the pact is more of like a ever-present thing where it takes like a toll on them or something like that.
Yeah, that's
and
dope.
It's like they cast like spells and use their abilities based on like how well they can like sustain themselves and like hold off like against the pack. Perhaps like the pack like eats away at them, things like that. Like, I think there's so much more that they could have done with it instead of just going the easy route and making it another charisma caster.
And once again, the stereotypical warlock is an edgelord, and edgelords don't have high charisma. Edgelords are not charismatic people. That's kind of the point of the edgelord. Like, the silent, cloaked tiefling warlock dude who's really crazy and mysterious and powerful. He's not a charismatic person like the bard, or even like the sorcerer or the paladin.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Like, the dark edgelord cloaked figure in the corner, and then they open their mouth and they, like, talk the dragon's clothes off of them,
Yeah, no, exactly. So, that's our opinion. If I were to play, I would change it to intelligence.
In fact, if you want to play an intelligence warlock, I know a good homebrew.
Really?
That I can find. Yes, I know. I've looked at a couple of them.
Well, of course he does. Gabe knows all the homebrew. Maybe we can put that on our Discord if you want to look out for that. However, if you had chosen for your subclass, which we'll get into in a second, basically the subclass you choose is like which patron you made the deal with, what kind of patron you made the deal with. If you had chosen the Archfey, I would say get charisma. Otherwise, I would make my player make the warlock an intelligence caster. Okay.
Moving on. Yeah.
Oh, I have a side note here. Yeah.
Quick build, as always.
Yeah, let's talk about the quick build real quick. Quick build
real quick. All right.
In general, but anyway.
I legit never look at quick builds. Like.
Yep.
They're just. I guess they might be helpful if you're like a new player. That's why they're there.
Yeah. No,
obviously.
No, they are. I think most importantly for letting you know what like the two primary abilities of the class are.
Yeah.
Like the primary ability and the secondary ability. The quick build, because otherwise it might be a little confusing. But usually I hate them. Okay. Why does this quick build not that good?
Well, first off the hand, you have it written down here is that it has you take 2 damage cantrips, which in most cases is a no at first level.
Definitely at first level, yeah.
Especially in the case of the Warlock, because Warlocks get access to the best cantrip in the game. It's called Eldritch Blast. It
Eldritch
is
Blast!
hands down the best cantrip in the game.
Yeah, when it comes to damaging, of course.
Yeah, damage. Yes, best damaging cantrip in the game. It is so good. It scales so well as you level up. You'll be using this a lot as a Warlock. There are things specifically in the Warlock class built around having Eldritch Blast and casting it.
Yeah.
And altering that. So you are 100% taking Eldritch Blast. But it also has you take another damaging cantrip at first level, which I disagree with just because...
What's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah, you're going to be using Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, you're going to be using Eldritch Blast like all the time.
Yeah.
That being said, the cantrip that it does have you take is a good cantrip.
Yes,
and could come into use like later on in space like different enemies and things like that. It's Chill Touch, which can like inhibit healing and all of that. Which is
actually
good.
Quite powerful in the later game.
It's quite powerful, but it's not something that I would take at first level.
Yeah. So we would suggest not taking two damage cantrips like ever actually at first level for any class you're playing. Just take one. That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
And also take the good one. Okay. Because there's a lot of bad damage cantrips. Definitely like Xanathars. They introduced a bunch of random bad damage cantrips for some reason, and I don't understand why. But anyway, basically like Firebolt and Eldritch Blast are the best. If you don't have access to that, then I guess you're like a cleric or a druid. Then you have access to Sacred Flame or something. I don't care. Okay.
Sacred Flame, Toll of the
Dead. Instead, just take Eldritch Blast and then take another one, a utility one. Oh my gosh. My connection's all messed up. You're freezing up. Hopefully you're talking right now. And
are we really back? Are we good?
Really important. Yeah, my connection's going in and out. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Unfortunately. You're still frozen on my screen, though.
Ugh. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's
Welcome
up?
back.
Sorry, I don't know. My connection's all whack. What were you saying? Were you saying anything? I was saying...
No.
Okay. So let's just dial it back a bit. I can cut this. Yeah, so I wouldn't take 2 damage cantrips. I would get Eldritch Blast and a utility one, like Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, or Prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation. Just rolls off the tongue. Is that actually
pronounced?
Yes.
Prestidigitation. Prestidigitation.
Yes. Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
You nailed it. First time.
Why is that why? What does that mean? I don't like it.
It's like some of the other like shillelagh, like people don't know how to say shillelagh.
Shillelagh, yeah. Well, D&D is known for having stupid, unpronounceable names, so I'm not really surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Except that it is a really common cantrip. Okay. Onto backgrounds. Anything.
Mm-hmm. Take the edgelord background.
Yes, the edgelord background. That can be
no family background.
The orphan background.
Yep.
The I killed my parents background.
Mm-hmm. I was possessed by a devil and set my house on fire. I'm an outcast from society.
Right. That background. Mm-hmm. You know that one.
That one.
So I guess Hermit. I guess that'd be Hermit. But for some reason, once again, back to Quick Build, they suggest taking Charlatan, and I'm like, why?
Just because charisma, I think.
And I think Charlatan isn't suggested
it's
for
Charlatan.
Any other...
Also, it's Charlatan.
Sorry. No, you're right. That's my bad. Charlatan is also not suggested for any other class, I think. So they're like, well, then let's give it to a class.
Like the rogue, right?
Is the rogue? Oh, wait, is the rogue not criminal? No.
It doesn't like doesn't that like add like 2? I think it's or maybe it's sort. I don't know. I swear Charlatan is for another class as well.
Hermit is for sorcerer. I would suggest Charlatan works better for Sorcerer, Hermit works better for Warlock, by the way. Rogue is... Yeah, Rogue is Charlatan.
Boom. Roasted.
Boom. Roasted. Yeah, I have no idea why they suggest Charlatan for the Warlock. Just goes to show how little they understand the class that they're building. No offense, wizards. You guys usually do really good. I don't like the Warlock, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about that?
Maybe, just maybe. Don't have your parents be dead.
And this just goes to any D&D character.
Yeah. If your background is, oh, my family is dead, at least change something and make it interesting.
No, you can do whatever you want, but it is cooler if you...
Yes.
Like in Critical Role, the second campaign, Jester's mom is alive and well, and I go visit her all the time, and she's a cool NPC, and there's nothing wrong with having your mom in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's awesome. Okay.
Yay, moms.
Yay, moms. Can we get a...
Speaking of moms, it's almost Mother's Day. Make sure to wish your mom Happy Mother's Day.
Make sure to get them a player's handbook, because you want to get your parents into D&D, don't you? I know you do. They love it.
Skip the nice breakfast and have a D&D session on Mother's Day.
Yeah. I know my parents love D&D and totally accept my lifestyle. Okay, so we're... No, I'm kidding. They're great. No, they love that I play D&D. They don't play it themselves. Okay. What's the first feature we're spotlighting?
Mm-hmm. Pack Magic. Alright. This is the Warlock spellcasting ability here.
Yes.
It's weird. Pack Magic is very weird.
Super weird.
Yeah, so the way it works is essentially you get a certain amount of spell slots. And at first level, it looks like pretty similar to like a lot of other classes, you know. Oh,
it's regular spellcasting like most of the classes have.
Okay, I get some first level spell slots. But as you level, you also get some cantrips, obviously. Yes, you get cantrips too. We talked about that already. But the way that spellcasting works for the Warlock is you have a certain amount of spell slots, and you get more as you level up. But also, the level at which you cast your spells, the level at which you have spell slots, changes. And once you get to a certain level, you just have like 4 spell slots, and then after that, just the level of those spell slots changes.
Okay.
And it gets...
Yes. It's a little weird and confusing. Definitely for first people who are first getting into the game. When I first started playing D&D, I ran a little game for my 2 friends. One of them played an Elf Ranger, obviously, and the other one played a Dragonborn Warlock, and we got confused. We thought spellcasting was the same as how it works usually, and we didn't understand how it worked. It's okay. People get it confused all the time. Basically, you have a very limited amount of spell slots. We're talking like 1 at first level, and then like 2 for a while, and then eventually 3, and then eventually 4. And those spell slots are of a specific level, right? Which usually scales with the level of spells for most classes, at least in the beginning. It's like only first level spells. For first and second level, you get access to second level spells. Third level spells at 5th level. But like, so let's look at 5th level. At 5th level, you have 2 spell slots that are 3rd level. So you have 2 3rd level spell slots, but no other spell slots. None of 2nd or 1st level. Only 2 3rd level spell slots. And anytime you cast a spell, it is automatically cast at 3rd level.
It's weird, as we were saying.
Yeah. So you can know spells of 1st or 2nd level, not just 3rd level. But when you cast them, they are cast at 3rd level. And use up one of those 2 precious 3rd level spell slots.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, you have 2 spell slots all the way till 10th level. Only 2 spell slots.
Yeah. 2. So it can be pretty restrictive, spellcasting wise, and you have to be careful where you spend your spell slots. And typically a lot of the time in combat, you're going to be using cantrips. which is what we were talking about. It gets the best damaging cantrip in the game, and there's a reason for that because it's going to be casting that all of the time.
Yeah, because even at like 9th level, you still only have 2 spell slots, while your wizard and cleric friends have like 10.
Yeah.
And can cast a spell every turn. You're casting cantrips and doing other things based on like the other customizability options you get. This is why... Okay, here's the thing about spells and spell slots in 5th edition. Definitely when you get to higher levels, the coolest and the best spells all require saving throws of your target. And your target will always succeed, essentially. Most of the time, definitely in higher levels, they will basically always succeed the saving throw. And so then take half damage or whatever. This means that you want a lot of spell slots, so you can continually cast powerful spells like this to slowly wear them down, because they're going to keep succeeding on the saves. But with a Warlock, you only have like 2 or 3 basically spell slots to use. So you can't just be going around casting spells in your spell slots, and people are just going to be succeeding on the saves. And it's, I don't like it. It's very sad. It's so sad.
Yeah. It's... Bit of an oof.
I don't... Why?
Alright.
I don't know
why. The
why
only
it's
reprieve
like this.
from this
Okay.
is that you get them back on a short or long rest. So you can get your spell slots back when you take a short rest. And this is something that will come to play with a lot of the abilities in this class. You'll see that they come back on short rests. And this can either be really good or really bad.
Yeah. It's cool, I guess, but also Wizard has like arcane recovery and stuff. So it's like, okay, so say you take 2 short rests in a day, all right? So you still have technically access to 6 spell slots then. 2, then you short rest, then you get 2 more, then you use them, then 2 more after that. But then like Wizards at like 9th level, like let's just say you're at 9th level where you still only have 2 spell slots as Warlock, already have like 10, so like whatever. Also, the spell slot level greatly gets like worse. Like at first it's like, okay, I'm getting access to the same level of spell slots to my friends, but then you get access to 5th level spells at 9th level like normal, and then just 5th for the rest of the game.
Yes,
there is an ability that comes with the class that gives you one spell slot?
Yeah. Starting 11th level, you get like 1 6th level spell slot, and then
it becomes like
a 7th, a 13th, yeah. So you get it is technically a full caster. These are spell slots that so you get like eventually you get like one of each level above 5th, and they recharge on long rests instead of short rests. So you do get access to higher level spell slots, but it's just always so weird. It's just like the way that spellcasting is built in this class. It's just,
and it just feels crappier than all other spellcasters, and you just feel like you're not doing as much. And yes, you are not technically like a wizard or a sorcerer. You have a D8 hit dice. You have access to some proficiencies with like weapons and some armor and stuff. So you are like you're better in some areas. But just comparatively, it's just such a weird caster, and I don't like it. Also, you don't prepare spells in this class. Like the sorcerer and the bard and stuff, you choose a spell. When you level up and you gain access to new spells, you have to choose one from the list. That's all you get. And every time you level up, you can replace one spell. So it's not like you have limited spell slots, but at least every rest, you get to prepare new spells. What would be dope is even if in short rest you get to prepare new spells, that'd be tight. No, you're stuck with the spells you choose. When you level up, you can replace one of them if you need to. So it's bad. Oh boy, it's real bad.
Alright. We've harped enough on Pact Magic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Warlock. I'm cool, but your spellcasting is so weird.
Maybe it's just too cool for us to understand, you know?
Yeah. It's just out of our league.
Yeah, Warlocks and their spellcasting, they're just like a quirky, like, special girl. They're like, no one's like her, you know? She's different.
We
just don't understand.
We don't understand.
You don't have high enough IQ. We don't watch enough Rick and Morty. We just can't get it.
Okay, we gotta move on. The next feature we're spotlighting is Eldritch Invocations. This is where you get a second level.
Mm-hmm.
And you get access to a couple invocations.
Yes.
Which are like little boons, little features, little boosts, little unique powers.
Yeah, this is like where a lot of people like go because they like warlocks. You know, they like this part of the warlock where they get to choose these different invocations, which can range from being able to cast like disguise self, like at will, or being able to.
Which is the best one.
Yes,
by the way.
That's so cool. It's called like Mask of Many Faces or something.
Yeah,
so
that
cool.
one is definitely the best.
Yeah, like this is like the part that I really like about the warlock mechanically. Is that they get these cool invocations. They can do all these cool things like at will or whatever. Also, the names are dope too.
Yeah, so like some are like new unique little abilities, or they like add on to like a cantrip or another ability you have from like your subclass or something like that.
Yeah, there are a couple that like modify how Eldritch Blast can be used. Like they can like push people away or pull people or extend range.
What's the good one that you always take at first level that you should always take at first level? Agonizing Blast.
Yes, Agonizing Blast. Yeah.
Just take it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are cool. They can add to the customizability. Once again, there's like 100 of these. No, that's not true, but there is a lot of these. So it's cool. You get a lot of options, which is cool. However, it's kind of unbalanced. Some are much better than others.
Yeah.
Like there's one where you get to turn invisible at will. Whoa! But you have to be standing still, otherwise the invisibility disappears. So what? That's specific. Yeah, and then not a lot are super interesting to me. Some very few, like there are a few ones that are really cool and unique. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, they kind of just add on to something else and kind of a rinse and repeat of other things we've seen before in 5th edition. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the cool ones like aren't worth taking mechanically over the ones that like are kind of boring, but they just add like more power to you, you know?
Yeah.
Like taking Agonizing Blast, especially you get to like deal more damage to the Eldritch Blast. It's boring, but it's very good.
Yeah.
So it's hard to justify taking one of the cool ones when you might just be gimping yourself.
Yeah. What is something we should note, though, is some of these allow you to cast certain spells at will, or like cast a spell without using a spell slot and then regaining the ability when you finish a long rest. Which is pretty cool. Once again, it gives you access to some more spells and kind of technically some more spell slots in a way. But, you know, still. Okay.
Like, Otherworldly Leap. You can get this one. You have to be at least 9th level. You can cast Jump once in yourself. Oh, sorry. Okay, never mind. It's at will. I thought it was like, you can cast Jump once per long rest. I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, thanks. I love 9th level. Yeah, so those are invocations. They're kind of cool. I would take a look at all of them. And the names are actually really dope. Okay, 3rd level.
Like, there's a lot of cool ones. I would just love to just like talk about cool invocations.
Yeah, and I think Xanathar's Guide adds in a lot of cool ones as well.
Yes, they do.
Okay, so now we're gonna talk about a weird thing. So you get your subclass at 1st level in this class. So at 3rd level instead, you get an ability called Pact Boon.
Mechanically, this might be like my least favorite part. Or at least the way that's implemented, I just really hate how Pact Boons are implemented in this class.
Once again, we're going to say it again, we're going to say it another time. This is weird. It's weird. It feels weird. It's cool. I actually like it. But I think
like the idea of it.
I think it's executed strangely. Basically, the point, the concept is that from your pact with this otherworldly being that you've chosen, they give you a little boon. They give you a little thing. And they give you 3 options to choose from.
It's called a Pact Boon.
It's called a Pact Boon because it's a boon from your pact. Really creative.
So, there's 3 options in the player's handbook. Pact of the Chain, Pact of the Blade, and Pact of the Tome.
They all are not good, mechanically, by the way.
I mean, Pack of the Tome, get a couple more cantrips. Wow.
Yeah. So Pact of the Tome gives you a little book, like little wizard spell book. Except you don't get to copy spells into it and be cool like a wizard. Instead, it gives you access to 3 new cantrips, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But they can be from any spell list, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you lose it at the mall, you don't have to go to Lost and Found. You can just
It's true.
do a little ceremony and get your favorite book back.
But that actually means that the ability is worse because you don't get these forever. If you ever lose your book, you lose access to those 3 cantrips. So it's like, here's an ability that's kind of actually good, but there's a downside for some reason. Okay. I mean, concept is cool. I like a little devil book. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Little devil book.
Yeah. I like the concept of having my
what
book
if
have
like
a
your
face
tome like you like chose like yeah, that's cool. But sadly,
like a
that's
shrunken
not what
head,
the
but
tome
like they
is.
stretch the like how they used to bind books with flesh, not used in certain horrible demonic cult cultures.
Mm-hmm.
But like if like they took this is dark. Actually, I'm not gonna get into this. Anyway, it was a cool concept, but I realized it was actually pretty dark. Okay, Pact of the Chain.
Mm-hmm.
You get a familiar,
Yes.
access to the Find Familiar spell, basically. And I love it. I love familiars. I love familiars. And I love familiars.
Familiars are very cool.
I love familiars.
Oh wow, I didn't see that one coming. I saw it like coming like the first like 3 times, but the 4th really surprised me.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have
So
to pause
basically,
here real quick.
you choose Pact of the
Wait,
Chain.
pause here real quick.
Okay.
I gotta switch out the batteries on my thing. 1 second.
The Warlock. It's pretty cool. However, I didn't use it much, but that was just me. If you really love familiars and having that like magical creature like that follows you around and is scouting for you, if that's your thing, definitely go for this. It's really cool. Great. But if not, if you are looking for something like, oh, I want to be able to be cool in combat, or I want to like have this cool, powerful pact or boon that I get from my patron, you're not really gonna find Pact of the Chain.
Yeah. What is cool is you do get access to a couple more creatures.
True.
With the Find Familiar spell. The Find Familiar spell, like an imp, a pseudo dragon, a quasit, or a sprite, which is dope.
Yeah.
But once again, like in combat, not really gonna help at all.
Yeah.
But I love it for the ability that it can like scout, it can sneak into things, it can whatever.
Yeah. Familiars are really cool and quite good outside of combat. All right. Now we have this thing called Pact of the Blade, and you're thinking, ooh, okay, so I get a cool weapon from my patron.
Yes, but no.
No.
No, actually, no.
Yeah, actually no. So, basically, you can choose a weapon. And
Any weapon.
Yeah, any weapon. You become like proficient with it. Pretty cool. It can like overcome resistances to non-magical attacks. Cool, sure, okay. And basically all the rest of it is saying that like you can hide it, which is pretty cool. You can like shunt it into an interdimensional space and pull it out. Cool. And then it has some really annoying like things like when it comes to like magic weapons. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point.
Sure. It makes it so you can kind of be like a little bit of a fighter, maybe. Because you can choose any martial weapon and be proficient in it, which is cool. However, you still have to use strength. So you still have to have high strength, but you're also trying to also have high charisma and high constitution as a warlock, which is fun. Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
The pack boon, you're gonna forget about it. Your pack boon anyway. So,
it's fine. Like
all of these are so fine. Actually, pretty bad, mechanically at least. Concepts, cool. Flavor-wise, they're actually all cool in their own way, but
Mm-hmm. It's just that they could have done like so much more with each one of these.
yeah. Yeah. It's just, it really means nothing. It really just doesn't mean too much. Okay. Let's get on to the subclasses, guys. This is actually kind of a fun one.
Yes.
So, subclasses for this is like the patron that you follow.
Mm-hmm. So you choose this at first level, which is different from a lot of classes. Not many choose their subclass at first level. But it's an important part of being a warlock.
Yes.
So,
definitely.
Obviously you chose it at first level.
Yeah.
So the ones that are in the player's handbook are the Archfey, the Fiend, and the Great Old One. I like these.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, moving on. No, I'm kidding. Alright, so let's go through each one of these. The Archfey...
Start us off here.
Archfey is a fae, right? Hopefully you know what that means, because it's kind of hard to explain. You know, like a fairy, a woodland, eladrin, pixie. That's fae.
If they don't know what Fae means, I don't think they're going to know what the word Eladrin means.
That's true. That's a good point. So the Archfey is some kind of like fairy queen or king or like royal of the fairy court or whatever, or like a rascal character like whatchamacall from Midsummer Night's Dream. You know, that guy who turns the dude into Donkey Head.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name?
It's been a million years.
What's that character? I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
I can't. I'm ashamed I don't know this. His name is
John Cena.
Yes, it's John Cena. Puck. It's Puck. I don't know why I couldn't remember that, guys. I apologize. But
Puck.
a powerful kind of fae, king or queen, kind of royal,
fairy-ish thing. Yeah.
Fairy-ish thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's not necessarily like good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sometimes evil, maybe kind of ambiguous, tricksy, whatever.
Quite quirky.
Yes. Quite quirky.
Yeah. So you get some spells you gain access to that you can choose.
Yeah, by the way, these are not spells you know.
Yeah, they don't
These
get
are some
automatically
spells you
added
can
to the spells
choose.
that you know. These are just more choices.
Oh, I hate this.
And then you get some cool abilities.
Yeah, we're not going to get into every single one.
That would take a long time.
But they basically have to do, they're Fae related.
Yeah.
Charming people, teleportation, and really charming people are all in this
Charm
one.
people,
I wouldn't
charm
say
people, and
they're
really
all-
charm people.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're all that strong, but they're definitely not like the weakest subclass abilities in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of cool.
Yeah, that's
Charm
like
is
the
a very
idea
weird
that
condition.
you're going for. You know, like that weird, like
Yeah.
chaotic patron. You can like charm things. There's this
Yes.
for you.
Yes, I think that's a really cool warlock concept. The Fey warlock. Nobody ever plays it, but it's cool.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Now we get on to the Fiend, which is
I first read as the friend when I first read the player's handbook. Which I'd like to say
they should
that I
we should
thought
make a homebrew patron where it's literally just a friend. It's literally just like a friend, but someone that you know.
Yeah. I will admit, the first time I read through the warlock, I was like, ooh, the patron, the archfey, the friend. Oh, the fiend. That makes more sense.
So, you make a pact with a fiend. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Demon prince, demon lord,
Demon Lord.
demogorgon,
Yep.
ball.
Not
Yeah.
from Stranger Things. Not that Demogorgon.
No, you know, the baboon-headed one.
Yep.
This is by far the most taken subclass.
Yes.
Not because it's the most powerful, but maybe because it's the most powerful, but also because it's edgy.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's the edgy
It's-
one.
Yeah. The tiefling warlock. Obviously, the patron is a fiend.
Mhm.
Everybody knows that.
Like, you're literally just, like, making a pact with the devil, you know?
Yeah, it's literally making a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
So, you
for
know,
D10 cantrip.
for, yeah. So you get access to lots of fire-related spells.
Yeah.
You gain some healing, some protection stuff, like
Also,
some resistance to things and
Mhm.
saving throws.
you get like the coolest named ability, like top 10 ability names in the game at 14th
Yeah.
level. It's called Hurl Through Hell. It's really cool.
Hurl through
Thematically.
hell.
Hi, yes,
Sorry.
DM. Yeah, that one. I'm gonna hurl him through hell.
Can I? Okay, so you know that lich? Yeah, I'm going to hurl him through hell. This ability is most fun when you use it on your friends.
Uh-huh. Like, if they ever, like, take some sort of, like, hallucinogen, you know, the characters, you know, like, okay, now let's make this fun.
Yeah. If you're Warlock and you want to send one of your fellow player characters, literally hurl them
to
through
hell. And back.
Give him a little Indiana Jones Disneyland ride through hell.
You
I
can.
just say Indiana Jones because that was the first one I ever went on when I went to Disneyland when I was a kid, and it scared the crap out of me. And so anytime I think of Hurl Through Hell, I think of going on the Indiana Jones ride because it terrified me.
I think
And
more
I
of, like,
imagine that's what
the
it's
boat
like.
ride from in Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's a way better example. Because everybody who ever saw that scene ever has had nightmares from it. Yes, the boat scene from Charlie and Chocolate Factory, which is horrifying. It's like that.
Yeah.
Give him a little pass through hell. Okay.
All right.
What does Hurl Through Hell do? Because we just want to talk about it because it's the best.
It's so cool.
It's also really strong.
Yeah. So you take someone and you hurl them through hell. They disappear for like a turn, and then they come back and take some psychic damage. Which, oh my goodness!
Did you just say some psychic damage?
Yes, some psychic damage. Only 10d10.
Some.
Only
10d10.
Only 10d10. You know.
Which, by the way, is an average of 55 points of damage. Also,
maths.
this is psychic damage.
Yes.
Which is like nobody has resistance or immunity to. Very rare to have a creature that has a resistance or immunity to that.
Mm-hmm.
So this.
I feel so bad for like the characters like gets this and they're going up against some like mind flayers or something.
Yeah, they go up against the mind flayer boss.
Yeah.
And they hurl it through hell. It's like, well, it took no damage from that, because the Elder Brain has no eyes, so it didn't see anything scary in hell. And that's my example. No. Also, what's really cool about this ability, and actually powerful, there's no save required. If you hit him with an attack, any attack, weapon attack, ranged spell attack, anything, you can then just choose to send him through hell.
Mm-hmm. No save.
Obviously, this is not all the... Yeah, you get to regain this ability after you get a long rest. You can't do this all the time. That would be so broken. This is very strong.
It's very strong. It's like one of the few things that you're going to be using at this level that doesn't require some sort of, you know, saving throw. Or you have to, like, try and do this and blah, 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 blah. It's just like when you hit an attack, which you should be doing pretty often, you can just choose to send them through hell. And, like, the flavor on it is so good. So you basically like, send them on this trip through a nightmarish landscape, and they come back, and then they take psychic damage because they just experienced a traumatic event. So cool.
Yeah. Literally went through hell. Really flavorful, really cool and strong. I love that it doesn't require save, because at 14th level, all the beasts you're fighting against have legendary resistance. That's irritating.
Yes.
So it is sad that the Warlock now becomes a good class at 14th level, and only by taking a specific subclass. But that's how it is. Okay, last one, my favorite.
Alright. The great old one.
The goo.
The goo, yes. That is how it is referred to in shorthand in the D&D community. So if you see anyone saying, oh yeah, so our goo warlock did this.
That's not a Nickelodeon-themed Warlock character.
They didn't make a pact with Flubber. It is instead... Instead, it's a pact with Cthulhu, basically.
Yes, the great old one, yeah.
Some sort of
Cosmic
great, mysterious,
eldritch horror.
cosmic... Yeah, exactly. Which, I love the idea of that. I
love
talk to
eldritchness.
Cthulhu every other Wednesday.
Yeah. He's actually my therapist. So the great old
You're
one,
like talking about like your struggles, and he's like, I know.
Yeah, I understand.
I have
all.
seen.
This is kind of off topic, but if you haven't already read it, go read The Call of Cthulhu. I just read it for the first time recently. It's really cool. I'm not usually into the horror genre when it comes to like fiction, like books and reading, novels and stuff. It's really short. It'll take you like an afternoon. It's really cool. It's a really good little short story. Side note, anyway. What happens in The Great Old One? What do you get from pairing with The Great Old One?
You get really old quickly. It's called the Great Old One. So to be a Great Old One, Warlock, you have to be elderly. That's it, actually.
Yep, it makes you old.
Mm-hmm. And at your 14th level ability, you basically become senile, and you can't play your character anymore.
Oh, okay. Sorry. No, you get. I love these abilities. Lots of mind-related things like telepathy and cool stuff. There's some weird protection things, like you have like a little ward that protects you and stuff. But mostly mind-related things. You can like infect people's minds. You can get resistance to psychic damage. Yeah. You
can enthrall a humanoid.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Also, like the spell list that it gets access to also fits that. They have a lot of like mind dominating effects and clairvoyant, like telekinesis, things like that. Mind powers, basically.
Yeah. Great Old One, cool. All of these subclasses, I must say, are dripping with flavor.
It sounded like you said the good old one. Is it just like the lesser version of a great old one?
Yeah, the good old one.
It's not a great old one. It's just a good old one.
It's a good old one.
The mediocre old one.
Anyway, yeah. So the good young two. So no, it. All I would like to say, all of these subclasses have lots of flavor when it comes to their abilities and the spells you get access to and stuff. They're not vague. They're quite specific. Their abilities are specific and flavorful and make sense. And I really like that because many subclasses are not like that.
Yeah. When you choose a subclass, you have a pretty good idea of what they're going for. The abilities fit that. And it's pretty consistent throughout. And they're all interesting. Like all the subclasses that they have laid out here, they're all interesting. And I can see great characters using any of them.
Yeah. Okay. That's all of the subclasses. That's really cool. We're going to have a brief discussion now on like play style. What kind of player would have fun playing a warlock? What does this fit?
Someone who wants to take a nap every 15 minutes. That's the play style. No,
Short,
if you're someone who wants to have a lot of options in your character creation, you want to have a lot of things to choose from. I want to be able to choose my abilities instead of just be handed them. At certain levels, you get a lot of choices here. And you have good choices in your subclasses, you have good choices in your invocations, your pact boon spells, of course. You have a lot of choices with the warlock class. It's kind of like the theme throughout it. Mechanically, that is. The choices. If you like the weird mechanics, if that's for you, if you like that, this is a great way. If you're someone who likes playing things that are perhaps a little bit more complicated to understand how to use, there is some mechanical complexity here. Not as much as I would say the wizard or something, but
definitely more than the fighter.
Yes. Instead of hitting something with a stick every round, you're gonna be casting Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, which is, I guess, a little cooler. I would say the warlock's biggest strength is everything besides its mechanical aspects. The flavor, the concepts, all that stuff is very strong with the warlock. The theme and stuff, and I love the role-playing aspects. I love that there is a patron NPC. If you kind of want a cool example of how it kind of works, in the second Critical Role campaign, one of the characters is a warlock. I think his patron is the Great Old One, though it might have been a homebrew one they made together. I'm not actually sure. But anyway, that patron is a NPC in the campaign. You know, he kind of gives him the warlock player like dreams and stuff. I love that there's like this mechanic that is kind of built into the warlock. I like any class that has stuff built in that encourages like role playing and encourages these collaborations between the GM and the player. I think if you're playing a campaign and someone's playing a warlock and you really never touch on that patron or anything, I think you're losing a lot of potential there. So, yeah.
Another little thing I want to touch on
here. We don't have a lot
here.
of experience with warlocks.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have a lot of experience with like high level warlocks.
Mostly
A lot of people don't have experience with any high level character, but yeah.
Yeah.
So we aren't exactly sure how warlocks play out like towards the end of a long campaign, but with the mechanics, if you're looking for something, I was just thinking of this where you want to have abilities that you can like always have ready, like my character, like I think you should always be able to change the way he looks, or always be able to talk to animals, or always be able to do this or that. There's, through invocations, a lot of things that you can cast at will as many times as you want, which is really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Detect magic becomes a cantrip. That's dope.
Essentially a cantrip.
Essentially, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's if you're that kind of person, go play Warlock.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
As much as we gripe about the mechanics,
yes, yeah.
As much as Shiloh talks them down,
yeah,
it is a pretty solid class. Its strength does matter on how much you're taking short rests, because of how the abilities recharge and how your spell slots recharge. But if you have a cool idea, if you see a cool invocation that you like, I would say just go for it. Just try it out. It can be a very interesting class.
For sure. If you do want to be a powerful warlock, I would say take the Hexblade subclass from the Xanathar's Guide. In my experience, that's the most powerful, from my knowledge. But
it's quite good.
Yeah, and like I guess pair it with Pact of the Blade or something. I don't care. Yeah, that's the warlock.
Yeah.
It is cool. As much as we make fun of it and we're sighing every time we talk about a new feature. There are really cool things about the warlock. If you love a warlock, that's totally fine. No shame. That's great. Play a warlock if you want to. There are definitely people who can totally enjoy playing a warlock and stuff.
Yeah.
But it does definitely have its faults, and we just wanted to point that out before you get yourself embroiled in a class you hate. We wanted to make sure you understood what you were getting into. This episode reminded me a lot of the Ranger episode we did. Yeah, anything else you want to say?
If your DM doesn't like the warlock, you could and you really want to play a warlock, you could just say, hey, so my choices are either playing a warlock or playing a mystic. And boom, there you go. You're playing a warlock for your campaign.
Yeah, that's actually, Gabe gives me an ultimatum, actually, every time. He's like, I'm going to play Paladin. I'm like, you're not going to play a Paladin, Gabe. And he's like, okay. Ultimatum, Shiloh. Either I can play a Paladin or a Mystic. And I'm like, please, play a Paladin. No, I'm just
we definitely
kidding.
need to get around to doing a Mystic episode. That's going to happen sometime.
It's a 3-hour extravaganza.
Mm-hmm. As we pour through the 27-page document.
In grueling detail.
Mm-hmm. Every word. All the punctuation. All right. And that is how I met your mother.
Yeah, that's really crazy, man. Oh, sorry. Guys, hey, thanks.
Oh, hello there.
That's the end of the episode. Thanks so much for listening.
Yep. As always, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you gained some sort of insight into what this class is. Gave you an idea that whether you'd like to play it or not. If you are playing a Warlock or thinking of playing a Warlock, you want to talk about it, ask any questions. As always, we're open to answer, talk to you, help you find homebrew or a certain character idea that you're looking for. We can help you with that. As always, you can hit us up on Instagram at D20_Academy. We can get you into our Discord, where it's a lot easier to ask us questions and get access to sources for homebrew and things like that. Just want to throw this back in there. Just double check, make sure you guys know we have our YouTube up and running. We're slowly uploading our episodes on there. We have a bit of a hiccup in production side here because of technical difficulties over on Shiloh's end, but
Yeah.
slowly but surely we're gonna get them all up there. Anything else you want to say in closing?
Yeah, I know our YouTube channel's already doing great because we already have like 7 bots commenting, which is really
Whoa,
fun. Yeah.
that's a sure sign of success.
Yeah. Okay. Next episode.
Oh, disclaimer here: if you are watching our YouTube channel and there's someone in the comments offering you some sort of illicit service, don't.
That's a bot.
Mm-hmm.
No one's commenting stuff like that.
Not a bottom. A bot. Robot.
Okay. Next episode, we're gonna be reviewing the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, which is the most recent 5th edition D&D book. We're definitely gonna have to split into 2 parts because there's so much to unpack. We've got
it is actually written by a Warlock patron, the patron of DMs.
Yes.
Same as otherwise known as Matthew Mercer.
Matthew Mercer, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's coming.
Yeah, so we're gonna a 2-parter. So we're gonna do part 1, then part 2 the week after. It's a big book. Really excited to go through it. We've gone briefly through it before when we first got it. But now we're really gonna dive in, read through mostly the whole thing. And then
in typical ASMR fashion.
Yes, and we're doing the whole thing in ASMR.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for listening.
Until next week.